What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. In this video, I'm going to be doing a penetration test with my POF Rogue. This is an AR-10 chambered in .308 Winchester. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be shooting some Full Metal Jacket M80 ball at this solid steel Masterlock. Check this thing out. I mean, this thing is crazy. About 1.5 inches thick. It's solid steel. I think this is probably one of the strongest locks you can buy. It has a boron alloy shackle. And there's the model number if you want to look up some of the specs. But it says right here, cut resistant 7/16 of an inch hardened boron alloy shackle, solid steel lock for maximum strength, dual ball locking for maximum pry resistance. And this thing is pretty hefty. I mean, it's solid. I don't know how much it weighs, but probably at least 2 or 3 pounds. It's pretty hefty. And the rifle I'm going to be using is my POF Rogue. And it's a 16-inch barrel AR-10 chambered in .308 Winchester. I'm going to be using some M80 ball. And so that's basically just 150 grain Full Metal Jacket. And out of this 16-inch barrel, I get around 2,575 feet per second of muzzle velocity. And I got this Silencer Co. Omega 300. So let's see what happens, guys. So what do you guys think is going to happen? Am I going to be able to penetrate through this lock? Or are the bullets just going to bounce off? And if you think it's going to penetrate, how many shots you think it'll take to bust this lock open? I want to see how many shots it'll take to bust this lock open. So take a guess and let's see what happens. All right, guys, 308 M80 ball versus solid steel lock, 60 yards. Here was my first hit, a little bit low. I wasn't sure where my POI would be. At such close range, I hardly ever shoot at 50 yards. I usually shoot beyond 200 yards. So looks like I have to just aim a little bit higher. I was aiming like right below the lock, so I got to aim a little bit higher. But you can see that M80 ball punched through half of the lock. It's pretty impressive, and it destroyed this keyhole. That's completely destroyed, and there's actually a very small dent here on the back. Pretty impressive from a 16-inch barrel to do that to solid steel. I'd say that's pretty impressive. So I'm going to aim a little bit higher. My goal is to try to hit up here, the upper right part of the lock, because that's how you bust open a lock. So I'm going to try to hit up here. First, I want to hit a little bit up here in the meat of the lock. I want to see how deep those M80 balls will penetrate. And I'm going to try to hit up here so I can break open the lock. So let's take a couple more shots and see what happens. But definitely wasn't expecting that from a 308 with a 16-inch barrel Just basic Full Metal Jacket. This is solid steel, guys. So let's hit it again and see what happens. All right, guys, second shot, 308 M80 ball. Looks like it knocked the whole board over. Let's see what happened to our lock. All right, so looks like second shot, I hit a little bit too high and to the left. Check that out. Just removed all that material. That is just crazy, guys. Really impressive. So I'm going to take another shot, try to get it right in the middle there. But check that out. That is just insane. Solid steel, guys. And it just bounced right off of this boron shackle. The shackle is stronger than the actual lock body itself. But that is just insane. From a 16-inch barrel to be able to do that, it's pretty impressive. So I'm going to hit it again, and we're going to keep hitting it until we bust this lock open. Check this out. Look at how the shrapnel from that lock hit the plywood here and ripped up the plywood, and the bullet went through there, and there's a chunk of steel stuck into the plywood. That is just crazy. Wow. It's from a 16-inch barrel, guys. Pretty impressive. All right, guys, third shot, 308 M80 ball versus solid steel lock. So here was my third hit right there. Check that out. That's just insane. Wow. Just took a whole chunk out of that lock. Still a little bit too far to the left. I want to be over here somewhere so I can bust this lock open, and I want to hit in the middle. So I think I got to hold a little bit lower and a little bit more to the right. So that's what I'm going to do. Check that out. I'd say that's pretty impressive. All right, guys, fourth shot against this solid steel lock. Check this out. So here was our fourth shot, right in the middle, just like I wanted to. And you can see it penetrated about half of the lock. I'd say that's pretty impressive. I mean, for a 16-inch barrel to be able to penetrate, you know, half-inch thick steel, maybe even 3/4 of an inch, it's pretty impressive. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attack this area right here, top right part of the lock body. I'm going to try to bust this lock open. So That's what a 308 FMJ from a 16-inch barrel will do to this solid steel Masterlock. Look how thick this thing is. It'll penetrate about half of it. I'd say that's pretty impressive. With enough shots, you would definitely bust this lock open. Even if you weren't hitting right here, if you were just shooting right in the middle, you would eventually break the lock and shear it in half with enough hits. But it can take a lot of punishment, as you can see. Barely penetrating through half of the lock. So let's hit it again and try to bust this lock open. See how many hits it takes to bust the lock open. All right, guys, fifth shot. Looks like I hit in the same hole almost as the first shot. Check that out. And look at what it did to the back of the lock. You can see these big cracks in the back of the lock. And it bent this piece right here. You can see it's all bent and cracking now. Pretty insane. Check that crack out. That's insane. Wow, a lot of power just from a full metal jacket out of a 16-inch barrel. We're not even talking about AP ammo, steel core, something like that, steel tip, tungsten core, just regular full metal jacket. Pretty impressive. Look at all the dust over here, lead and steel, all the shrapnel and everything. Look how it messed up the plywood there. So let's hit it again. All right, guys, here was our sixth shot right there. Gotta hit it a little bit higher. Try to crack this lock in half. Try to bust this lock open. Check this out. Look at that penetration into the solid steel. It's pretty impressive. Look at the crack over here on the side. It's pretty insane. Wow. So I'm gonna hit it up here, try to bust this lock open. I gotta hit it a little bit higher, just a little bit higher. I gotta hold it. And we'll be dead on. We need to hit it right there a couple times. Try to bust it open, but 6 shots so far, and it's still holding up. It's still locked. You can't unlock it. All right, guys, here was our 7th shot. Check that out. Just a little bit too much to the right, but I'm going to keep aiming in this area and hopefully we can bust this thing open. Check that out. So let's hit it again. All right, guys, so here was our 8th hit on this lock, right there, right where I wanted to hit. You can see we can see the bottom of the shackle there, right where it goes into the lock. So 2 direct hits right where the shackle goes into the lock body and it's still holding together. So I'm gonna hit like 1 or 2 right there and see if that won't be enough to get this lock to open. But look at this huge piece of metal right here that's about to shear off. It's pretty insane. Wow. And now we have a crack right in the middle there. You see that hairline crack that wasn't there before? Let's just look at the back. The back is still good. Got that little crack there. And this whole piece right here is about to fly off. Check that out. So we're almost there. Got hit like 1 or 2 right here, right in this area. Should get it to open. If not, just hitting in the middle of the lock will eventually split the lock in half and shear the whole lock in half. So let's hit it again and try to get it to open up. All right, guys, here was our 9th hit right there. Exactly where I wanted to hit. You can see this shackle is exposed, but it's still holding. You can see this chunk of steel right here about to break off right there. So I'm gonna try to hit like right here. I'm gonna try to break this piece of metal off, and that should open the lock. If not, I'll probably have to hit it again somewhere in this area. But check that out. So about 3 direct hits right in the lockup area and it's still holding. So that's pretty impressive. So let's hit it again and see if we can't shear off this big piece of metal and open our lock. And I mean, this thing is just taking a beating. Look at this crack right there. All this metal. Look at this big chunk of metal right there about to break off. Tough lock. All right, guys, hit number 10. Looks like I hit right here again, and it still didn't bust the lock open. Actually, it looks like I hit right here. And this giant piece of metal looks like it wants to just shear off. But the lock is still holding. Can't tell if I either hit here. Looks like I hit here again, because now this boron shackle is actually bent. See how it's bent? It's a thick shackle. And look at how the metal here is about to break off. Look at that. That is just insane. I bet if I had like some pliers or a hammer, I could probably hit this piece and that would probably do it. But I'm going to hit it again and we're going to try to shear it off. But this is a tough lock. Check that out. Looks crazy. I'm going to try to hit it somewhere in here. I want to take this big chunk off. So let's hit it again. Let's finish it off. All right, guys, so it looks like shot number 11 did the trick. Check that out. Only thing is you still can't move this shackle because it's so bent and all this metal here got compressed. You can't even move this thing. It's stuck like that. So, you know, if there was like a chain or something in the way, so if you had like a chain here, you still wouldn't be able to unlock it. But looks like it took about 4 to 5 hits right in the lockup area just to expose that shackle. Probably 1 or 2 more hits will free it. So let's hit it again and see if we can't free this shackle. Look at this. Check that out. This huge chunk of metal there. Just ridiculous. It's about to come off. Got this huge crack in there. Wow. Absolutely insane. So let's hit it again. Try to free that shackle. All right, guys, shot number 12. We hit right in the middle there. This lock is just totally busted. Look at this thing. Look, we got this huge crack. Check that out. I think this lock is about to split right in half. So let's hit it again, see if we can't bust it in half. All right, shot number 13. Here we go. All right, guys, so shot number 13 split this whole lock in half. Look at that. That is just ridiculous. So it took about 7 shots or so in the weakest part of the lock to finish it off. But it's pretty insane. Look at that. Got the ball bearing in there. Solid steel, guys. Look at that. That's a solid steel lock. Absolutely insane. Look how it just sheared the whole body of the lock right in half. And the shackle is pretty bent, as you can see. Wow. It's just from a 16-inch barrel, guys. And no AP rounds. Just regular FMJ M80 ball. Pretty impressive. Here's the rest of the lock. Check this out. Look at that. That is ridiculous. Impressive power from a 308 with a 16-inch barrel. Man, look at that. Absolutely insane. So, looks like we just split it right down the middle. Like I said, if in doubt, you can shoot the middle of a heavy-duty lock, and enough shots will just split the whole lock in half. But it's going to take more shots if you try to split it by hitting it in the middle than if you shoot up here. My last couple of shots were more in the middle, and I think that's because my zero is a little bit off. I think I'm going a little bit too far to the left with my POI, so I have to adjust for that. But the last couple of shots were in the middle, and as you can see, it just split that whole lock in half. But if you concentrate your efforts on the top right part of the lock, usually it doesn't take much to open it. But all right, guys, so here's what's left of our lock. You can see I split it in half. Got this little chunk of steel here. It's pretty cool. This makes for a good paperweight. This piece right here would be a good paperweight for your office. It's pretty cool. Good story behind it, I would say. Somebody walks into your office and they ask what that is. Check that out. That is just ridiculous. It just looks so crazy. And you would think you would need something like a 300 Win Mag to do this, but no. Even just a 16-inch barrel 308 with basic M80 ball. Pretty impressive. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. If you want to see more 308 content, check out my 308 playlist. If you want to see more lock tests, check out my lock tests playlist. I'll leave a link in the top right corner of this video. But that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.